Good afternoon. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC News Break. The Chief Executive Officer of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital says it costs close to $200 million to deliver premium health care to Barbadians. But Dr. Dexter James also says those services are under threat by an increasingly unhealthy population. Speaking at the University in the Community series at the Central Bank, he reiterated that 8 of the 10 leading causes of death are non-communicable diseases, and projections are that by 2025, 1 in 3 people, which is more than 30% of the population, will die from an NDC. An estimated 14 people go to the QEH monthly with heart attacks, close to 2 a day with strokes, and globally, Barbados continues to hold the 2nd spot per capita for prostate cancer. The CEO says Barbados offers the widest range of services in the region, but he says there has to be a shift in how healthcare is funded.
That's what the global budget does. It promotes inefficiencies. However, if I was being paid for the extent to which I keep that patient healthy, he comes in and have a seat, and I spend half an hour with him to find out how things are. Because I know when I send in my report, if it shows that his diabetic condition is uncontrolled, I ain't getting paid for it. So we got to change that whole model of the way the entire health system is financed.
Senior Vice President of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Eddie Abed, believes property owners in the city must be prepared to lower their rents in order to help keep businesses interested in plying their trade in Bridgetown. Mr. Abed, who is also one of the leading business owners in the city, made the comment against the background of reports that some businesses are leaving the city for other locations because of overly high property rental costs.
We live in a democratic capitalist society, supply and demand. If you have an empty mall and you want to get rented, drop your rents. I don't know what else to say. That to me is a no-brainer. Supply and demand. In better days, in pre-2007, 2008, absolutely the rents were outrageous, but people paid them. Now they're not. And I think property owners really need to reconsider where they're at and drop their rents to get people back into their malls.
A local real estate company has been lauded for its commitment to heritage tourism. Professor Senator Sir Henry Fraser suggested Island Villas manages hotel properties, which are collectively some of the largest hotel properties on the island. The company celebrated its 15th anniversary at the historic Chimborazo House in St. Joseph. Sir Henry was speaking at the 200-year-old Plantation House, which is located in St. Joseph.
Heritage tourism is the fastest growing aspect of tourism in the world today in the 21st century. And so where Richard Eames and Chimborazo comes, or Chimborazo, Bajan style, comes into the picture is that they are managing a company called Island Villas. And the Island Villas conglomerates of companies like Richard's are in fact the largest hotels in Barbados.
A senior education official has hit back at Barbadians, who he says are taking advantage of challenges and problems facing young people, whether at school or on the outside, to advance their careers. Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Senator Harry Husbands, says there are several positives that can be highlighted.
Rather than exposing our young people to public ridicule, let us focus, I think, on all of these great things that come out of the schools in Barbados, whether they are private schools, primary, secondary, all boys, all girls. There is a tremendous amount of activity going on in the schools every day that is upright and worthy. And I'm convinced that the majority of the students in our educational system, the majority of young people in our country are working hard to do the right thing.
Senator Husband's comments came at a workshop for the finalists of the school's music festival, formerly the school's choir competition. He says music is an essential component of education.
Schools that have rigorous music programs perform better in virtually every aspect of education. So this music festival and the teaching of music in the primary and secondary schools of Barbados is an important and core aspect, I think, of the educational system.
A third man has been charged in connection with the murder of Albert Boyce last year. 28-year-old Jamar Jamal Graves of Grape Hall, St. Lucie, is to appear at the District A Magistrates Court to face a murder charge. Boyce was fatally shot on the morning of December 7th while at Lower President Kennedy Drive, St. Michael. 22-year-old Romario Akeem Phillips of 10th Avenue, New Orleans, and 23-year-old Nicholas Akeem Tio Shori of 3rd Avenue, Paris Gap, have both been remanded in connection with Boyce's murder. Graves also faces additional charges of unlawful possession of a firearm and robbery. A pedestrian who was knocked down by a car along 2 Mile Hill on Monday morning has succumbed to his injuries. Police are now investigating the unnatural death of 34-year-old Jamie Kenroy Selman of St. Barnabas, St. Michael. He passed away at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital on Wednesday night, where he was being treated for injuries sustained in the accident. The car was driven by Grenville Belgrave of St. James. Well, Dr. Denzel Douglas blames sabotage for his loss at the polls in St. Kitts and Nevis. But we'll have that story and more next on the CBC News Break.